This is Halloween, and today we will be visiting Marti Cemetery in West Tampa. We will also be visiting a portion of Tampa still owned by Cuba, so you can literally go there and stand in this little public park in the middle of Ybor City and be standing in Cuba. We're also going to visit a great place to grab some Cuban sandwiches and get a little history on the Cuban Club, also in Ybor City, one of the nation's top most haunted places. Enjoy! We're here at the Marti Cemetery, located in West Tampa on Columbus Avenue. This is actually a Cuban cemetery established in 1895. It's pretty small as far as the acreage goes, but Daddy, if you're listening, I think this might be the one you were talking about. It's been the center of a lot of controversy and scandal over the years, and we'll learn about that when we go in and see what we can see. This is the first thing that caught my eye here, this fabulous niche with a statue of Jesus depicted up at the top. I love the Spanish tile, Mexican tile, whatever. You see this a lot in Mexican restaurants or South American. If you'll notice, I have a bit of a head cold, so I'm not feeling a whole lot like talking today. Got a wasp nest up there, but this is beautiful, very cool. They do have the pictures of the departed on the dishes. It looks to be in a little bit of disrepair, you know. There's some damage on the inside. Hasn't been maintained properly. I learned a lot about this cemetery when digging up the history and doing the research, and it has been oftentimes unkept. Not a huge cemetery, I might add. I'd say it's about the size of one city block. It's just right off Columbus, a very busy road. A lot of very cool headstones and things like that though here. This is just another niche. As I'm walking through the niche, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of this cemetery, which was it's kind of disturbing a little bit when you think about it. People don't tend to care for cemeteries as they should unless it's a big company. Garden of Memories, where my Mimo is actually buried, owns part of this cemetery, but the other portion of it in the 1930s was owned by one J.L. Reed, and J.L. Reed ended up passing away around the 1950s and left the cemetery to his son, who didn't want anything to do with it for liability reasons. So between the 1950s and probably around the 1970s, it just became in a consistent state of disrepair, overgrown, unkept, and nobody willing to take the property. In 1959, actually, the cemetery became the center of scandal when city workers disposed of raw sewage in the northern part of the cemetery, which was actually one of the parts that had been abandoned and ill-maintained. When the expansion of Columbus Drive took place, they had split the cemetery into two sections, the northern section and the southern section, and for some reason the northern section became overgrown and unrecognizable. So when the city dumped this raw sewage into the grounds, there was a huge controversy, and rightfully so, over that. People who had loved ones buried there, it started a big scandal here in the city. What they ended up doing was they exhumed all of the graves, all of the ones that they could, and removed the bodies and placed them elsewhere in the cemetery. And they made that portion of the cemetery, what was called the northern portion of it, they turned that into a park. This is really cool. Like, I love this. It's a little gated off portion. This area is a niche as well, but it kind of looks like the mantle of a fireplace. You know, they've placed photographs of the departed, as well as flowers and statuettes, and there's a card there on the ground. Hadn't been opened. It's good that at least now it's maintained as it should be, and obviously families are coming and paying a visit to their family members. Notice the names: Diaz and Sanchez. Cuban Cemetery. I'm sorry if my voice sounds bad or scraggly. It is bad and scraggly today. All right. We are inside the middle of the niche now. These are larger, I've noticed, it seems. maybe not, but this is cool. It's different. I love going to these cemeteries because there's always something different that I've never seen before. And this Cuban cemetery has a lot of that Cuban influence, you know, Cuban or Spanish wrought iron. It's really cool, really different. I know people have been here recently because there's Easter eggs in some of the flowers. And they're all fake flowers, pretty much. They last longer. This is really cool. It's damaged, but it was a stained glass piece. Looks like maybe the Virgin Mary or a saint of some kind. A lot of the pieces of glass had been broken out. We're here now at the end of the niche. Niches are where I often hear voices or the whispering sounds of the departed. So I try to stay quiet as much as possible, but I don't want it to be boring either. Gonna head out, enjoy the rest of the cemetery, and take some photographs of some unique and different headstones that you might like. This cemetery is that even though it's kind of run down in areas and you can see where it has had some trauma over the years, they have these beautiful, you know, I call them strawberry trees because they're kind of shaped like a strawberry. The correct name is Japanese something or other, but they're all kind of canopying in the area, so you could take a stroll through the trees, keep in the shade, and enjoy the scenery of the very beautiful trees that surround the cemetery. But what I wanted to do was just take you on a little journey here, just to check out this other niche. There are 3 niches in the cemetery. This is the one in the furthest right hand corner. There's one in the center, and there's one just up on the left hand side right when you enter through the front gate of the cemetery. The cemetery, I believe, is open till 5 every day. So if you want to come in, check out Tampa's Cuban Cemetery, Marti Cologne Cemetery. We got Dominguez, Iglesias, Melendez, Gonzalez, Martelis, Rodriguez, and the very cool depictions of the departed in the front of their niche. All right. We're headed out of the cemetery. It's an easy one to get through. It's not really big, but a lot of the headstones do look newer, and I can only surmise that that's because the families have replaced them, because it's a very old cemetery, and there are still some older headstones here, but for the most part they all look pretty new. See you on the next visit. We're here at West Tampa Sandwich Shop. We're gonna get a bite to eat. Gorgeous building right behind me is the Cuban Club, established in 1917. The Cuban Club is one of the most haunted places in America. Several ghosts have haunted the Cuban Club over the years. One of the most prevalent is that of a young boy named Jimmy, age 9, who drowned in the pool here. Now, when Ybor first established these immigrant clubs, or had the idea to establish them, he wanted to have a place for all of the immigrants to go. As you know, he had his factories that he had brought here to Tampa from Key West. Had become a very prevalent way of life. The employees in these factories were all immigrants. They were coming in from Italy, Germany, Spain, Cuba. So the city has 4 immigrant clubs that are still in existence today. The Italian Club, the Cuban Club, Centro Asturiano, and Centro Espanol. And the Cuban Club is the most haunted out of all of them. You might want to come and check this out sometime. It's not open to get into, but if you wanted to peer into the windows, they do have a Halloween party every year that you might want to be part of. But other than that, Ghost Hunters International has been in this building. You'll find many different people covering this building. It's quite the haunted place here in America. We're going to check it out. Obviously we can't go in, but we'll look around and see what we can see. So as I was saying, the purpose of the immigrant clubs at that time and Mr. Ybor's vision were that each group of immigrants would have a place to go when they got off a hard day's work. He appreciated them for working so hard for him, and he wanted to give back in every way that he could. The immigrant clubs were one way of doing that. If you were an Italian, you'd retreat to the Italian club after work. If you were Cuban, you'd retreat to the Cuban club. And if you were Spanish, you'd go to one of the Spanish clubs. But within each club, he had pretty much everything set up for each group of immigrants. So if you wanted to come in and do some shopping, they had theaters, they had a dance hall, a gambling hall, a gym, anything you could possibly think to want to do after work. And this way you could go somewhere where it felt like home. Everybody spoke the language, so you didn't have to worry about language barriers or anything like that. There was also a bank inside of each one, and Mr. Ybor had it set up to where they could make their funeral arrangements free of charge. So I'm just gonna peek into the windows. You may be able to notice the gorgeous tile work in here. It is absolutely exquisite. Hard to see in. You can see how beautiful the tile work is in these buildings. And all the buildings in Ybor just really have very ornate and beautiful tile work, all the older buildings. If you appreciate that sort of thing, I do. Just a brief history of the Cuban Club. If you want to know more, you'll have to come on a tour. As I said before, I'm a ghost tour guide in Ybor City. Go to nightlyspirits.com. You can use code CAR667 for 10% discount. You can kind of see in the windows and stuff. Now obviously today they're not open as immigrant clubs, that would probably cause quite the stir. But they're open for rental, like if you wanted to rent one out for special occasion. They are all owned by the city, and you can rent out a space for wedding or wedding reception or office party, things of that nature. So if you ever want to come and just peer in the windows and check it out, you definitely can do that. It's a beautiful building, as most buildings in Ybor are. That's one thing that I truly love about Ybor City, is that they've tried as much as possible to keep it original as possible. Jose Marti, yeah! We're here at Jose Marti Park, if you can see it behind me. For 60 years, this was the only Cuban-owned piece of property in the United States, and it's located right here in Ybor City. This is a very small piece of property here in Ybor City, Tampa. But if you come here, you will literally be standing in Cuba while you're in Tampa, because they own this piece of land. And there is a statue, again, of Jose Marti, beloved to the community. He was living in exile for years as he fought for freedom from centuries of Spanish rule. Marti actually, during that time, made frequent visits to Tampa, where he became good friends with Vicente Martinez Ybor, the cigar mogul and Ybor City's namesake. They became good buddies, and Vicente Martinez Ybor even helped him, give him moral support and financial support to help him with his cause. So that's him there. I'll take a couple of still shots. This is a very small piece of property. It's a very small little park, but it's beautiful. Oh, over here you'll see little chickens running around. How perfect. I don't know if you can see them from here. Little babies. Mama and babies everywhere. So cute. Look at them. Oh my goodness, there must be a dozen babies. So cute. There's Mama. Oh, it's a good Mama. Watching her babies. That's awesome. Look at them, so cute. Here it is. Jose Marti, located just outside of Ybor Square. Thank you so much for joining me again today. If you loved this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. As I've mentioned before, I want to continue doing this, and you guys are a huge part of that. Leave a comment down below if there's anything you want me to check out. I'll go pretty much anywhere in Florida. I'll just make a trip out of it. So if there's a place that you'd like to see, or you'd like to have me visit, or I should check out, please let me know in the comments section down below. I just wanted to say, for all of you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your day. Relax. Maybe go to the beach. Go for a walk in the park. Just have a nice, chill day. I also wanted to say, for those of you who have lost your mother, like myself, that it's going to be a hard day for all of us, and please just remember that they're very much still with you. They're a part of you. So if you've lost your mother, and I know some folks who have, so close to Mother's Day, I know it's going to be a tough one. My mom will be gone 2 years, June 4th. It's going to be tough. It always is. but only time can make that a little bit better. It'll never go away. So I'm praying for all of you who have lost your mother, and I hope you're able to still have a good day and rejoice in the memories that you shared while she was here. That does it for today's episode. I'll see you next time.